phone and look at all the apps you have on it. Pick up your phones and look at all the apps you have on it. Now Google the founders of all these apps. I'm pretty sure more than 90% of them, if not all, have been founded by men. Where are the women entrepreneurs? Why has literally every startup that has made it big, such as Facebook, Flipkart, Amazon, Tinder, Pinterest, which has an even larger female base, why have all of them been founded by men? Why is, especially in India, why are women entrepreneurs to a large extent limited to the food and fashion industry? Why are there such few women drivers in India? And a sport like chess, which can be played both by men as well as women, why are there such few women in the professional level playing chess? Anyone? Whenever there are any statistics which show that men have been doing, whenever there are any statistics which show that men have been more successful than women in any particular field, the immediate reaction of people is to blame it on the lack of opportunities which women get. And that's completely true. Women do get much lesser opportunities than men. But even when men and women receive the same opportunity, in many cases, men are more successful. The women who study in Harvard, Stanford, IIM, IITs, they often have the same opportunity as men who study in Harvard, IIM, IITs, and these kind of prestigious institutions. But when was the last time you heard of a woman from any of these prestigious colleges starting a Harvard or starting a Facebook or a Snapchat? I'm pretty sure every girl in this auditorium uses Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is a pretty open platform. Anyone can just go and write an article on it or contribute or edit an article on it. But according to studies, only 9% of the articles on Wikipedia have been contributed by women. So the problem is not just lack of opportunities. The problem is not just discrimination. More often the problem is differential treatment of genders. Parents and society often treat their children and treat the children very differently right from the beginning. Right from day one. Not only day one, right from hour one, we are not treated as individuals, we are treated as boys and girls. When I was 1 hour old, I was wrapped in a blue blanket. It doesn't fit me anymore. But my sister, she was wrapped in a pink blanket. When we were 1 hour old, we didn't decide the color of our blanket. The hospital decided it. Look at the photo album from the first birthday party you had. I'm pretty sure the gender would determine the theme of your birthday party. When I had my first birthday party, it was a car-themed birthday party. Back then, Hot Wheels was popular. Whereas my sister, she had a Barbie-themed birthday party. When we were 1 year old, we didn't decide the theme of our birthday parties. Our parents decided it. And parents also often encourage their children to do more of the outdoorsy kind of activities, and they encourage their girl child to do more of the homely activities. And society reinforces all of these stereotypes in every stage of our lives. Which is the most popular television commercial in India in the last couple of decades? Washing powder Nirma. And who are the 4 ladies that come up on it? Jaya, Rekha, Hema and Sushma. And in those commercials, you literally see women drooling over detergents. Whereas a commercial like Thumbs Up, taste the thunder, courage, bravery and all that. And even though there's no connection with bravery and Thumbs Up, you often see someone like an Akshay Kumar or a Salman Khan portraying themselves as a hyper-masculine kind of people, jumping from buildings on cars to buy a 10-rupee Thumbs Up. So once again, society is promoting men to be brave and courageous, whereas women to do more of the household stuff. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and it's very common to see guys asking girls out on dates or proposing to girls for marriages. But even till date, there is still a social stigma which prevents women from asking guys out for dates or for marriages. I don't remember the last time, either on TV or as well as on real life, I saw a girl going down on her knees asking a guy out, like, will you marry me? You just don't see that happening. Once again, society is promoting guys to take the initiative, whereas women to remain passive. You know, in 10 days' time, the Oscars are going to take place. And I remember clearly last year I was watching Leo give his winning speech for winning the Best Male Director or Best Male Actor Award. And it was then when I realized that the Oscars doesn't have a separate award for the Best Male Director and Best Female Director. The Oscars doesn't have a separate award for Best Male Screenwriter and Best Female Screenwriter. But the Oscars has a separate award for Best Male Actor and Best Female Actor. The Oscars has a separate award for Best Supporting Actor Male and Best Supporting Actor Female. Why? Because even the Oscars, the most prestigious film fraternity in the world, believes that men and women should portray different roles in society. Even the Oscars believes in stereotype. And you know, these kinds of messages, if repeated often enough, becomes a part of us. These kinds of messages, if repeated often enough, makes us who we are. Who are we after all? We are just a product of our experiences. What we experience is what we become. And this is why the same women and men who may go to Harvard and Stanford and getting the equal opportunity, but still you'll see some of the men taking more entrepreneurial initiative. This is why even though me and my sister have the equal opportunity to drive a car, for some reason I take that proactive measure to learn how to drive a car, but my sister is cool with not doing it. This is why even though a lady who may wake up at 6 a.m. to take care of her children and to make breakfast at 6 a.m. for her babies may not take that same initiative to start an app or to contribute an article on Wikipedia. The problem is not just equal opportunity. More often, the problem is gender stereotype. Society and parents often treat us equally, yet differently. Only when society and parents treat us equally as well as identically will the genders get their fair place in society. I propose parents and society to implement a gender-neutral society in which we are treated as individuals rather than boys and girls. That is the only long-term way to reach equality. But what do? We always take the easy way out. Instead of fighting against gender stereotype, we post statuses on Facebook about dowry, we make laws about equal wages for women and women, we reserve seats for women in colleges like IITs, IIMs and everywhere. We have a tendency to fight against the symptoms of the problem rather than the problem itself, since the symptoms are more easily visible. In the short run, you can fix the symptoms, but in the long run, unless you treat the problem, the symptoms will keep showing in some way or the other. The core problem we have today is gender stereotyping. And the symptoms are unequal wages for women, unemployment amongst women, or illiteracy amongst women. And we have to treat the core problem, which is gender stereotype. In the next 5 to 10 years, many of you are going to have children. I know it's a pretty scary thought. And I want to ask you, will you name your child according to which gender he or she is from? Or will you give your child a gender-neutral name? Will you wrap your child in a blanket according to which gender he is from, or will you not care about it? Will you ask your children to play with toys according to which gender they belong to? Okay, by then they'll probably be having an iPhone 12s in which they'll have Tinder Pro for babies. Will you treat your children with equality, or will you merely just give them equal opportunity? Will you ask your daughters to whisper every time she has her period? It is no coincidence that India's largest sanitary napkin brand, one of the world's largest sanitary napkin brands, is called Whisper. Don't whisper, speak out. And as you speak out, you have to realize that what has been happening for thousands of years will not get solved in one generation. Changing the way an individual thinks is an evolutionary process, not a revolutionary process. Gender stereotypes have been existing for thousands of years, and what's going on for thousands of years will not get solved in a single generation. But that is no excuse for us to take gender stereotype casually. That is no excuse for us to take gender stereotype lightly. And that is no excuse for us to not give our best to fight against gender stereotype. As you leave this auditorium today, I want you to start thinking freely, to start thinking about things which you've never thought of before, to start thinking for yourself rather than what society has asked you to think. I want you to ask yourself random, like thought-provoking and even wacky questions. Like, start wondering about things which you've never wondered about before. Like, have you thought about what percentage of animals are gay? Like, have you thought about that? Do plants dream when they sleep? Do plants sleep at all? What do female monkeys, how do they deal with their periods? Do animals have periods? I want you to start thinking about things which you've never thought of before. But most importantly, I want you to think without barriers. I want you to think without stereotype. I want you to think without boundaries. And I want you to think about things which are not common. I want to end my talk today with a quote from my book, Selfienomics. What is common is not necessarily normal. And what is uncommon is not necessarily abnormal. Thank you.